The baton now passes to Derek Mills, the Georgia Tech athlete. And Jamaica fell down, but somehow or other, Greg Hawkins did a somersault and right back on his feet. Jamaica still in their
No matter what we go through, God's love is true. If we reach out to Him, He will see us through. See us through. He will see us through.
Said when I see you smile, I can face the world. You know I can do anything. This is Singing Street, and I want you to tune in to these beautiful ladies each and every Friday, 8:15 Eastern Time. Ladies uplifting and inspiring, hosted by the Queen Cleopatra, Kingside Natalie, Telisha, Angela, Vanille. I don't know what I said, the tagline, concern. Your concern us. Together we concern. So just check me out on the IG, Facebook, YouTube. You don't know, each and every Friday. Singing sweet to them. I had a girl, and Donna was her name. Oh, Donna. Check them out. Singing sweet.
Boom! I done my fair present for the program on him. Ladies, uplifting and inspiring. Every Friday, 8:15. Make sure you log in. Facebook, IG, YouTube. Yo, yeah, hear me Queen Cleopatra. Big up yourself. Yo, Daniel, large. Pay Friday night come. Pay that Friday I come. Ladies uplifting and inspiring, make the whole of the people have fun. Anyway, make we tune into the program now. We want to know how the discussion go. New York, Miami to Orlando. Whether you in your big house or your condo, we have to tune into the program now. We want to hear how the discussion go. New York, Miami to Orlando. Whether you in your big house or your condo. 8:15 Friday night it start, and when me lock in, me now want to feel like off. Queen Cleopatra beautiful and smart, with a good sense of humor for make people laugh. Natalie, they on the look good chat. Talisa, hot like a fire where a spark. Angela and Vanille, them capture man heart. But I no look alone and be a fox, them attack. And the black woman, them we a hand dance. Uplift, motivate and inspire them fast. A program hotter than 10 pepper sauce. Immigration law, you get your paper sauce. Olympian, we run past finish mark. Big artists from present and past. Pastor, preach, Satan, get cross. Doctors and nurses, teacher in a class. Yo, make we log into the program now. We want to know how the discussion go. New York, Miami to Orlando. Whether you in your big house or your condo. Boom, I done my fair present. Ladies uplifting and inspiring. Me say big up yourself, Queen Cleopatra, the thing sell out. Man.
Hello, hello, hello. It's Friday. Okay, welcome, guys. Good evening. It's Friday, as you know we do. It's ladies uplifting and inspiring. Wagwan world, what's going on? It's Cleopatra, your host, and this evening we're bringing to you Mr. Gregory Horton, president, founder of the Horton Mentoring Group. He is one of our very own Olympian, world medalist, world champion medalist, a dad, a mentor. He's going to bring a lot of information to us this evening. So you know what we always tell you to do. Share if you care. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. And you know, your concern concerns us. Together we conquer. Mr. Horton, what's going on? What going?
Not much, you know. It's a pleasure to be on your show. First time. I look forward to the discussion.
Awesome. And I know you have a lot to share with us, a lot to teach us, a lot to mentor us tonight. So guys, be ready for it. And as usual, feel free to drop your comments, any questions, any concerns right here on Ladies Uplifting and Inspiring. So this evening, our ladies, we always have Angel and Natalie. I just want to say my apologies on their behalf for not being with us today. I'm not sure if Natalie will join us later on, but it's going to be a lot of information that will be dispersed today on this platform. So, Gregory, just tell us a little bit about you, from a little boy. I know that you're from the inner city, and what we're going to be discussing tonight is that great products come from the inner city. It's not where you're from, right?
Yes, that is so true. I was born in Rollington Town and I was raised in Alman Town. And when I was around 11 years old, I moved to Seaview Garden. And I was fortunate that as a young man, I was able to earn a scholarship to come to the United States. I remember back in the days when I was at Seaview, living in Seaview Gardens, I was looking for a way out of the inner city. Just like most of my friends, we were looking for a better way. And there were nights that I used to sit down and wonder to myself, how am I going to make it? What strategy could I use to find a better way, a better life? And most of my friends used to think the same way. Unfortunately, some of them are still in Seaview Gardens. Some of them have passed away due to making the wrong decisions in life. Some of them are living an upstanding life. And fortunately for me, I was able to exploit some of the opportunities I got. I went to Central Arizona College, I went to George Mason University, and I excel in track and field. And I give God thanks every day that he was able to bless me with the opportunity to take advantage of the opportunity that I received growing up as a young man.
A lot of us, we get opportunity and we always hear that opportunity comes but once. So as soon as we see it, as long as it looks that it will produce fruit, we got to make use of it because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? So you were an athlete. You represented our country, Jamaica. Tell us about some of your challenges, the things that you encounter, what inspired you actually to become an athlete?
Well, I tell you, looking for a better way of life. Growing up in Seaview Gardens and seeing poverty and violence around me. And then when I was around 14, I saw a horrific thing that happened where Natty Morgan and his crew came in and murdered 7 of my friends. And that really was one of the first step where I made the decision that something have to give. And that was one of the moments that I started to stay late at school looking for opportunities. And fortunately for me, I was able to get the opportunity to represent my school. I remember back in the days I used to go out time after time. I wasn't able to make the team for whatever reason. But when that situation happened in Seaview Garden, that time, I realized that whatever it takes for me to get that opportunity and exploit that opportunity, then that's what I was seeking. So just like some other people, for me, I was so focused on finding a way that I zoom in on just finding that way. And it didn't matter what opportunity it was. I purposed in my mind that I was going to take advantage of that opportunity. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping others, because I know that a lot of people find themselves in a similar situation where they're sitting each day wondering what next. How am I going to overcome the situation that I found myself in when some of these situations I inherited? And this is why for me, I am so focused, I'm so driven and inspired to help other people to find a better way of life, because living, trying to figure out what next is never a good thing for anyone.
True. And I also know that you are a past student of the Excelsior Primary and High School. Now, were you involved in athletics? Did you go to boys and girls camps during that time?
Yes, from first grade at Exet Primary, I had the talent and I used to do well on the sports days at the primary champs. So from early in my life, running was something that I did. And I think it is what actually gave me the opportunity to attend Excelsior High. So when I went to Excelsior High, just like some young boys, you find things to do which wasn't productive. So it took me 4 years before I actually got the opportunity to be on the Excelsior track team, because I was just wasting time with a whole lot of the boys hanging out underneath the plum tree. And this is why, again, I am passionate to make sure that people make the right choice, because fortunately for me, after 4 years of wasting time in high school, I was able to get another opportunity on life. Not a lot of people are fortunate like me. And this is why I try to help people to just make the right decisions early, because when you make the wrong decisions, it can cost you almost everything that you work hard to achieve.
That is so true, so true. And that's why we have to be focused. And like you said, sometimes a lot of us waste time during our early years, and then in our 40s, 50s, we're trying to buckle down and shuffle up, trying to get things done. So well, what is your mission and your purpose, Mr. Horton?
That's a very good question, because sometimes when you talk with people, they are more driven to find their own purpose. But my mission, or I should say my vision, is to help to transform people into the best version of themselves by changing the way they think. Because most of the time we find ourselves in situations where we are confused. We don't know what is our purpose. And when you're wandering around the place trying to find your purpose, you waste a lot of time, you waste a lot of people's time, and you're not able to become the best version of yourself until you get older, and it seems like time is just trickling away because you didn't use it properly. And this is why I am inspired to help regular folks, athletes, to find their own purpose. So my mission, in layman term, is to build an army of people who are willing to make changes in this world. But before they can make changes in this world, they first need to make change on self. And this is why I'm driven to find an army of people who are looking to find a better way of life and are willing to do the work, because sometimes you might have that intent, but you're not fully prepared to do the work.
Wow. So just for you, those of you who are just joining us, this is an exclusive edition tonight on Ladies Uplifting and Inspiring. So share. I hope you're listening keenly, because information is not something that you should waste, especially when it's free. Okay. So tonight we're viewing the world through the lens of an athlete who is our own Jamaican Dr. Gregory Horton, who is also the founder and president of the Horton Mentoring Group. Now, Dr. Horton, other than you knowing what your purpose is and you growing up in the inner city, for those who are just joining us, I'll just repeat that the inner city doesn't define who you are. Great products come from outside of the inner city. Very brilliant people come from the inner city, as a matter of fact, who come out to be something in life. Oftentimes we're stereotyped based on where we come from, how we dress, etc. Would you agree that the ghetto doesn't define who you are and good moral characters exist despite the odds?
Well, definitely. You have good people everywhere. Sometimes when you're in the ghetto, depending on where you are, it's a cultural thing. And you find that some of the cultures that we embrace inside these inner cities, they are not cultures that can help you to become the best version of yourself. And this is why when I'm trying to help a person, I want them to accurately assess who they are. Because just like me, I took the time and I would sit in a corner trying to figure out what can I do to get out of this situation. Because as Bounty Killer once said, ghetto mean that you need to get out of the ghetto. It's not somewhere where you should feel comfortable, but as human being, you should strive to achieve more in life. So again, it comes back down to a mindset, because you have people who are complacent with where they are. And because of that, they don't try to elevate their level of thinking. And then you find that the next generation that came after them might just pattern what they do. So I always tell my kids that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, your goal is to make sure that the next generation, your offsprings, are a better version of who you are. And this is something that we need to strive to achieve in the inner cities, that each generation must be better than the previous one.
Wow. I mean, we also talk about on this program about generational curses and all of these things. We have to be very vigilant. Now, I hear you mention about the mind. You keep talking about the mind, right? As a transformational life coach and mentor, what do you mean by it's all in the head?
Well, put it this way. If you want to write a paper, the thoughts are in your head, in your mind, and you have to find ways to bring it out on paper to make it a reality. Just like, say, for example, the first airplane. It was an idea that was in somebody's mind. And by having the right people around, you're able to take that tangible idea and you transform it into what we now see. And this is why if you want to achieve your goal, you might have an idea, you might have a thought. And this is also why you need good, competent people around you that can help you to decipher some of the negative thoughts and help you to focus on the positive thoughts. So you can bring forth what is within you, so other people can see the manifestation of your thought. Some people, they get confused and they don't know how to go about extracting the data from their mind. And this is where I come in, because I had to find ways to make an idea become something that somebody can see and hear and touch and feel. But not a lot of people have that ability to go deep within themselves in order to take out what is there and bring it to fruition so the world can see it for what it is.
Okay, so I'm gonna allow you, Mr. Houghton, since you have so much information as a mentor, like I also said, a transformational life coach, to deliver to us and our viewers tonight. You understand that adversity can bring out the best in an individual. However, you also believe that experience is not always the best teacher. So I'm going to open the floor to you, let you be the host tonight, kind of where you can just give us the message that you have for us tonight in an exclusive fashion.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity and thank you for the platform. And I'm talking to your guests right now, wherever you are. You might be driving. I hope that you're not driving and watching at the same time. You might be sitting in your home watching this on a computer, and thoughts are running through your mind as to where am I? Where do I want to be the next 5-10 years? And sometimes you might not even have an idea as to the path to take. And this is why I am motivated to help people who found themselves in a situation where they want more out of life, but they don't really know who to turn to or where to turn for assistance. But I'm here to tell you that if you have a true intent to achieve anything that you set out to achieve, the first thing you need to do is to find the right individuals who can help you to take that idea or that thought that is in your mind and bring it to fruition. I can tell you that in life, one of the reasons many of us don't achieve our highest potential in life, because one, we don't plan.
Wow.
For two, we follow somebody else's dreams and goals that was not designed for us. And when we get frustrated, we don't know who to turn to because we are driven by somebody else's idea. No, I believe that everybody has a story, and your story is to use to help to transform you, just like my story was used to help me to understand that I have a lot in life. I can appreciate what was given to me because I was born in a family that I had no choice, but I had to make the best of the situation. So wherever you are, Now is not the time to complain about what you have or what you don't have. Now is the time to figure out what do you need to do in order to move forward, to have a better life, a better future for you and your family. I've been through a lot, Empress. You know, I lost my wife. I had two young kids at the time.
Just want to say my condolences,
Thank
Mr.
you very
Husband.
much. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. But I tell my kids that we are not victims. We will use this situation to bring out the best of ourselves. And there are days when things just don't seem bright, but we keep on pushing on. And one of the things I find with people today, that when things are not going right for them, they want to quit. You know, you just showed me running in the 1996 Atlanta game when I fell. And it was easy for me to just lay on the ground and complain to my teammate that it was unfortunate. But
Right.
it is those people who can get up and keep on moving when they don't feel like it. Those are the people that will be successful because we are motivated, we are inspired, and we have a true intent to achieve and become the best version of ourselves. So I'm saying this to those who are watching today. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter if you only have $1 in your bank account right now. It doesn't matter if your favorite person walk out on you and you feel like you're there by yourself. The first thing you need to do is to find someone who can provide the guidance and the support and the encouragement. Because this is where we start. This is where we start.
It's not how hard you fall, but how well you rise. That's what I've always heard. You know, get up, stand up, and fight. I mean, fight for what you want in life. I mean, do you always want to be a mediocre? Do you always want to be, you know, even working from paycheck to paycheck? Do you always want to see your children crying and they need stuff? Not that they only want it, but they are in need and you're not able to provide for them. Like you said, you are a dad who lost your wife and you have your children, and you did not make that, you know, get you down. You stood as a dad, as a parent for your children, and let them know that this is not the end of the world. Life has to go on, right?
Definitely. And this is why I find that while I'm mentoring people, that some people want the results. Some people desire the results, but they do not want to do the work. No, everything in
Tell
life,
them.
if you want to achieve something, you must put in the work.
Mhm.
Now, one of the reasons why we might not put in the work, because again, it comes back down to culture, where you find someone who is taking total control of your life. They're doing everything for you. And then you find that when it's time for you to survive on your own, you're not able to survive because you don't have the skills or the knowledge or the experience to put yourself in a position where you can exploit opportunities. I give you an example, Empress. When I came to Arizona, Central Arizona, to go to college, I had no clue how to type. And even though I had friends who wanted to do my work for me, I made it very clear that I must start where I am right now. And I took one finger at a time until I'm proficient now in closing my eyes and doing it. Now, some of us in life, we are not willing to pay the price. And if you're not willing to pay the price, there is no way you can be successful. So I know that some of us may feel frustrated because we don't have the necessary skills, but you have to start where you are. And that is my advice. It's going to be tough starting where you are. But I promise you that in time, you will get better, you will get wiser, you will have the experience, and then you'll be able to transform your life.
And I know that you are actually, your messages too for the young athletes coming up, but also for parents, for coaches, the coaches who coach the athletes. And I mean, all these messages for all of us tonight. you believe that our athletes are exhibiting their true potential? Do you believe that they are currently exhibiting their true potential on or off the track or in any other sport, since you're also sending a message to them?
That's a very good question, Empress, because I remember when I was younger, I used to look up to people like Merlin Ottey. I used to look up to people like Donald Quarry. I wanted to know more about them because I felt at the time that if they were able to do so great, that if I followed what they did, I too would become great. And I remember I used to cut out pictures of Merlin Ottey, and I used to paste her up on my wall as a reminder that this is who I want to be when I get older. The athletes that we have today, they have no desire to know about the history of their own sport. And because the people who are guiding them are telling them things that are not accurate, they buy into it. Now, if you look at a lot of our athletes, they're not moving from point A to point B in a successful way. And even though they are more talented than we were back then, we are still able to outperform them in every area. Last year I watched the world relays, and I was disappointed. I was disappointed because I realized that what we are doing in Jamaica, we are focusing more on the physical talent, and we are ignoring the mental development. And there is no way you can get an athlete to be the best version of themselves if your focus is only on the physical development. Now, my advice to some of the coaches is that you too need to be a student of the game. A true coach is one who understands the situation that the athlete is going through, and they never put their best interests before the athletes. But today you find that it is the coach's idea and vision, and it seems like the athletes are the scapegoat. And my advice to some of the athletes is that when you fail to achieve your highest potential, the coach, the manager, and whosoever else will find somebody else to work with. And then you are the one now who left behind wondering what next. One of the reasons I was successful in my sport, because I took personal responsibility. I made sure that everything that I needed to know that you didn't do for me, some of the things I had to do for myself. And it created a level of independence. I was able to do for myself the things that I was able to do for myself. And I never depend on anyone to do what I could do for myself. And this is why I'm encouraging the athletes that if they are to transform into the best version of themselves, that they need to take personal responsibility for their actions, and they also need to be a student of the game. They need to study in order to be better at whatever they choose to do.
Right. And I'm just listening, Mr. Houghton, Dr. Houghton. You're telling the athletes, how, what they need to do. Now, let's say you have an athlete or an individual or a parent or a coach. What's the first thing? Like, okay, the mindset, they got to change their mindset, but how? Let's say they don't have certain resources to, because along with the mind can't do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that if they don't have other resources, how can they transition into this discipline, of it's all in the mind?
Well, a very good question, because talent plays a major part in all of this. It doesn't matter how strong your mind is. If you don't have that physical talent, you can't take somebody who's a 12-second 100-meter and use the mind and get them to run 10.5. It's just not going to work. So you do need to have a certain level of physical talent. But what I see going on in Jamaica, it's a reverse of what should be. I'll give you an example. The parents are not involved in the day-to-day decision-making of their young boys and girls, sons and daughters.
Right.
The parents, they have no interest in learning what it is going to take for their sons and daughters to be better in whatever they do. The only thing these coaches and some of the managers are doing, they are using money to bribe the parent, where it reminds me of slavery, where you're giving some money to the parent and they totally hand over their sons and daughters to you. And this is why you find, even though it's not being talked about, that a lot of the young boys and girls are being sexually molested because of this situation. And that now becomes a psychological thing, because the athlete now is not able to focus on training and performing well, because they now are plagued with this bad negative experience that they have to face on a day-to-day basis.
So they're traumatized, right?
Very much so. And when they're traumatized, this is when you now need those deep psychologists who can help to alleviate some of these stress that they are faced with. So in an ideal world, it should be parents being totally involved in their sons and daughters' athletic and academic life. They instruct the coach what they should do, and then the coach would use his or her knowledge and experience to guide the athlete with the permission of the parent. Now, you cannot tell me that it is more important for the athlete to run fast for the coach and not for the parent. My purpose was to get my family out of Seaview Gardens. So I couldn't rely on the coach to get everything done for me. I had to take personal responsibility in terms of understanding the game. So it really didn't take money, because we used to run without shoes. We used to run with whatever tear up shirt or shorts that
tear up body pants.
You know, people talking about, oh, you need the right track and you need sneakers. Yes, it is important to have these things if you have it. But I know a lot of people who were able to win boys and girls championship without these resources. So what these young people need first and foremost is guidance. And they need people who they are genuine and can trust them and will walk them down the right path. They're not getting that. Because what you find now is the coach has an ulterior motive, because they want the athlete to run fast so they can get that name recognition, and they're willing to sacrifice the athlete's health and mental state and physical development to achieve their agenda. Now we also need people like the J3A to step in to make sure that these young athletes are protected.
Yep.
They need to pass rules and guidelines that can help these young athletes to develop the right way. They also need to implement programs, seminars and workshops to help these athletes find who they are. Because remember, it's not always about the physical. I was able to excel because I had the consciousness to know that 1 and 1 equal 2, and I was able to apply that to my personal situation. That's what we need.
But then how can some of these coaches who have that mentality, Dr. Horton, like even molested these children or trying to bribe them, so to speak, as to get them to do things, how can we help those coaches?
You know, the streets know everything. You know, people know everything. They're just not willing to talk. Now, you have, say, for example, the J3A and the JOA and many of the high school athletic department. They are aware of some of these things. But what you need is rules and guidelines that will govern how people should conduct themselves.
Right.
And it starts with the J3A, because the J3A is the body. And I'm just talking about Jamaica. If it's USA track and field, you really don't see a lot of these things happen. If it happened in USA track and field and it is brought to the attention, then you're going to be banned for life and criminal charges will be filed. Okay. It's a similar situation that we need to do in Jamaica. When you find that culprit, you don't let them go and let them go in hibernation for a year or two. You have to let the court system work, because if the punishment don't fit the crime, the perpetrator will continue with that behavior.
Okay. So there you have it, guys. And I don't know if you agree or disagree. Feel free to drop your comments in the feed below the live. And Dr. Horton, I just want to say, very informative session here. Very, nuggets. You're dropping a lot of golden nuggets for us who, at times, when we're even frustrated or in the situation, we don't even know what to do. So, taking time out, sometimes step back, look at ourselves to figure out who we are and what's our purpose is very, very, very important, right?
Definitely, because you know what? Sometimes the creator of this earth is trying to communicate with you, with me, with the world. But we are so busy doing other things that we block the creator out. Now, I am a true believer that God exists. And I'm a true believer that whatever he says, I must be obedient and follow the instructions. But this is why I said earlier in the discussion that many of us are using somebody else's way of life, way of thinking, and philosophy to guide our path. And I don't know what else it's going to take, because many of us, we are going down a one-way street and it's not working. It wasn't working 5 years ago. It wasn't working 10 years ago. For some of us, it wasn't working 20 years ago. But we continue down that path. I'm saying that it requires a new level of thinking. If you want change, then the change starts with you. You have to change your philosophy in order to be able to come out and be successful in whatever you choose to do.
So you are so true. But I've had discussions with many people in terms of who you are. Who are you, really and truly? Who am I? And a lot of people, they're still in search of truth. They're on that journey trying to figure out who they are. Like you said, you're a firm believer in the Most High. And there are a lot of people who I'm sure we do, but then we're still on that path of finding truth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long is it going to take us to find truth? Like, Kobe was known for his skills and talent in playing basketball. This is my little thing. However, after that, he retired from basketball. He ventured into producing after his NBA career. Now, what would you say? What message would you say, with this little analogy here with Kobe transitioning from one stardom to the next?
So let me give you a real life example. When I made the first national team for Jamaica, I won the junior trials, and it took me less than 6 months to be a nobody to winning the World Junior, the Pan American game for Jamaica in my age group, because that was one of the only time I was focused. I had a true intent, and I was willing to do the work in order to be better. It's just like you. If you procrastinate and wait last minute to get a project done, many of your listeners today are like that. So something that should have really taken them, say, a week to get done, they were able to complete it within 18 hours. They didn't get any sleep, and they were able to keep on working on it without sleep and without food. So it's the same thing in life. When you realize that you are behind the 8 ball, your level of motivation must be heightened. Right. So if you weren't a reader then maybe now is the time to start reading books and taking notes more than ever before, because it's what you don't know that will make a difference in your life. So it is your duty to try to know as much as you can within a short period of time. What I'm saying, Empress, is that is information and knowledge that will help us to become the best version of ourselves. And the information and the knowledge is not just going to come down from the sky. It is something that you must do in order to have. But everybody wants to have and they don't want to do. So one of my philosophy in life that I got from my mentor is this, that you must be before you are able to do in order to have. So I had to be a champion in my mind first, which means that I had to think like a champion. I had to do the things that champions do, which means that I'm not going to stay in bed all day and do nothing. I am going to get up and I'm going to be out there like a Kobe Bryant, and I'm going to put in the work. People who know Kobe Bryant and knew Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan tell you this, that they are the first to come to the court and they are the last to leave the court. When you're talented, sometimes you work harder than those individuals who are not talented. So it is the same thing here. If you find that you wasted 10 years of your life doing nothing, you now have to work overtime. My friend would use the terminology, you now have to kick down that door because you are fish to fry. You can't now sit down and do nothing for the next 10 years and think your life is going to change.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Never will.
You know, and that's why some of us were so stagnant. Even in this pandemic taught us to think deep, think outside the box. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, even if we were at square one, this pandemic has taught us a lot. And out of this pandemic, irrespective of the negatives, there were a lot of positives, because a lot of entrepreneurs were born this year, 2020. Now, how could that be if they probably did not go deep down within themselves to figure out what's my true God-given talent? How can I use it? You know, you may not be a basketballer, a footballer, but there is some talent that you were given to by the Most High. So use it. Now, what's your role as a dad, Mr. Houghton? I know you also have a son, Khalil, who is in sports. Tell us about your role as a dad.
I am a very demanding dad in a lot of areas, because I want my kids to understand that anything in life you want to achieve, you must put in the work. And I try to live by that example. They see when I'm preparing for a presentation, the amount of time and energy that I put in. I don't do things for my kids that they can do for themselves. I will get them all the help that they can get. So what I'm doing is I'm preparing my children for the real world. A lot of parents don't understand that your home is the training ground where you instill discipline, you instill honesty, you instill commitment, hard work, dedication. You know, in Jamaica, they say that if you can't dance a yard, you can't dance abroad. And it means that if you don't have these faculties here that can help you to exploit opportunities out there,
right,
it's a figment of your imagination that you're going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. I've seen it all the time. I'll give you an example. When I was in Jamaica last year, I was doing the Mind of a Champion tour, and I sat with a young man, and he was telling me that he was a hard worker and that, you know, he knows that he's going to be successful. And when I started to ask him the questions, you could tell that he eventually realized that who he said he was, he's not that person to himself, and he was not that person to his teachers.
Oh, wow.
If you say that you are this person, you must ask yourself, does my teacher believe that I am this person? Because sometimes we don't have a true reflection of who we are. And in order to be successful out there, you must have accurate information, accurate ideas of who you are.
Right.
Self-awareness, self-concept, self-confidence, self-esteem,
yes,
emotional intelligence. These are things that you must have, and you must prepare yourself from home. So when you get out there, you're able to exploit opportunities. I'm just preparing my kids to know when to speak and when to be quiet and when to go all out for what they do.
So what word do you have for us parents, including our viewers, myself? Like, you know, you've always also heard that we all have a choice, including our children. So let's say we're steering them down a path where, okay, you're telling them that you want them to become a basketballer per se versus a footballer, but their love is for swimming. And that's what they really want to do. How do we deal with that as parents versus children, and what their desires are?
You see, children live what they learn, And I find, let me give you an example with my oldest son, that I used to take him to the track and he used to watch me train other people and he used to watch me train. And over a period of time, he wanted to be like me. I didn't have to force him to do this. And this is what we need to do as parents. We know the level of talent that our kids have. And that is only if we pay attention and we are vested in making sure that our kids become the best version of themselves. What you find today is that parents are taking a hands-off approach because they got that philosophy somewhere else. And they're leaving a young person to make decisions as to who they want to become. Now, I know almost everything about my kids. I know what they like, I know what they dislike. And it is up to me to encourage them to do what is in their best interest. Now, there are times when we may disagree. But one of the things I try to do with my kids is that I encourage them to have a voice. I encourage them to come up with evidence to support the view and the direction that they want to go in life. It's not about how you feel. It's about the data.
Yeah.
I want them to say, I give an example. I remember my son wanted to get a sneakers because it was the best sneakers. And he knows when it comes to price.
Must be some Jordans.
And what I did work for him, I gave him a study to say, go and find 2 sneakers. And I started out with one particular one and encouraged him to tell me with the data that you found why I would purchase these shoes over these shoes. And he went back, he made the comparison, and he realized that, Daddy, I really don't see any difference in the shoes. I will take this one. Because as a parent, Empress, I was open to be convinced. I wanted him to be prepared to be able to articulate what he wants. It's not about me. But if he's not able to come up with data, evidence to support his views, I can't support him. So as parents, we must prepare our kids for the real world. We must prepare them for what is to come.
Well, for those of you who are watching again, nuggets are dropping like manna from heaven, right? We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back, guys. So in the meantime, for those of you who are just joining, we welcome you. And it's looking through the world through the lens of an athlete with Dr. Gregory Horton, who is also the president of the Horton Mentoring Group. So if you need any mentoring for your children or yourselves, you know where to go. He's on Facebook. And are you on Instagram too?
Yes, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter.
Okay, there you go. So we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back.
No matter what we go through, God love is true. If we reach out to Him, He will see us through. See us through. He will see us through. We are strong.
Yes, my people, this is I, Major Mackerel, and do you remember that Team Major Mackerel proudly present a Major Mackerel benefit concert on Saturday the 12th of December, featuring the king of the dancehall, the one king, King Yellowman, Capitan the Fireman, Agent Sasko, Chakademos and Pliers, Tree the Veteran Way, Peter Metro, Burubantan and Major Mackerel, Prince Allah, Fred Lax, Admiral Tibet, a Major Mackerel has said this. Now remember, live stream by Veeps.com, www.veeps.com. For ticket information, just log on to www.veeps.com. Tickets $20.99. So keep it straight and play your musical rate. And Major Mackerel has said bless it, we not stress it. And if you love our gear bone, left it. But remember, at the 12th of December, the Major Mackerel benefit show. Nibibam.
Name Corona, surname Virus, nickname COVID, age 19, mother China, current boyfriend USA, ex Italy, Iran, Spain. Crush, India.
Okay, guys, thank you for your patience. And we're back with viewing the world through the lens of an athlete right here on Ladies Uplifting and Inspiring. Like I told you earlier, it's an exclusive edition today. And you are listening to the voice of Dr. Gregory Horton Mentoring Group. Now, Dr. Horton, as a mentor, do you find any challenges yourself mentoring to children, adults?
Yes, I find that most of the time the parents are in the way of the child's improvement. No, I am not one of them to say that it's the parents' fault, but it all starts at your home, my home. We have to prepare our young boys and girls to be committed, to be disciplined, to be dedicated,
Right.
because this is the only way they can be successful. Because what normally happens now is that when they fail in class, in a sport, they think is justified when they don't give the best of themselves the next time. I don't take that from my kids. So parents must be involved in their kids' life. There are people that you want to mentor, but you see that the parents take out all of the energy out of the young boys and girls.
But what about the parents if they themselves need mentoring though?
It is true, because we are passing on information to the kids based on what we saw in the Disney movies and other movies. And this is why I say earlier that the information that we are using to guide ourselves and to guide our children is not for us, because we start to see the evidence early when the child is 2, 3, 4, and we ignore it. As parents, if you're not disciplined and you're not requesting more or requiring more from your child, how are they going to grow up and strive to be the best and persevere when they are faced with obstacles? They're not able to. You find that parents are doing the work for their kids, especially time like this in COVID where people are staying at home. That's not how it has to be. Parents must make sure that their kids are willing to do the work. Because when you do the work for them, when you make the decision and shield them from doing the activities that will make them better, I promise you that at the end of the day, you will regret it. I promise you that.
That is so true. We have our co-host behind the scenes. She's saying right here, and you can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you get. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I'm not a big dreamer, in terms of what dream. My mentor once said to me that you have to wake up, because many of us, we are dreaming. There is a nursery rhyme that talks about life is just a dream. Many of us, we are in la la land, because the information that we are using to guide ourselves, our eyes are open, but it's outdated information and it is not information for us. So I will tell you that it's time to wake up and let us plan.
Yep.
So we can achieve your highest potential in anything that you choose to do.
Very profound statement or remarks right there, Dr. Horton, because if we should just continue dreaming, of course, we hear every day that, oh, you got to have big dreams, dream big. But okay, if you're still dreaming and sitting there without making any step of waking up and putting that dream into action, then where are we?
Yeah, I would prefer that you take out the dream and you look at visualizing, because you want a mental image in your mind. That is what you want. It's like building a house. You have that image, but you might not have the necessary skills in order to build that house from scratch. So what you do, you go out and you find people who are competent and reasonable in terms of price, and they can put together the plan and they can help you to build that home the way how you want it to build. But most of the time, we are trying to achieve things on our own.
Right.
So it's hard to do that because sometimes, Empress, we don't have the knowledge and we don't have the experience to guide ourselves. And this is where a mentor comes in, because the mentor will have the live experience. And without the mentoring group, if I am not able to help you, we will find the people within our group to make sure that whatever you need in order to become the best version of yourself, you have it.
Wow. So you're willing to go the extra mile for those who need that help.
That's what we do. Because I remember the days that as great as I was as an athlete, there were situations in my life that I wanted help. I wanted guidance and I wanted support. And we learn through trial and error. You know, we are blessed that in a lot of instances we are able to overcome the trial and error part of it. But sometimes, and I've seen it happen over and over, where a person make one mistake and it costs them their future, whether it's athletics or even in their own career. And this is why I am saying to you, you don't need to make mistakes like those people. Find the right individuals who can help to provide clarity, help to provide the way, and can provide the insight. That's what you need in order to become the best version of yourself.
Once you slip, as you slip, you slide. So, I understand exactly what you're trying to say here. Now, with the J3A, we did mention that in correlations with our athletes. Weren't you a part of it, though, Mr. Horton, if you are so passionate about helping, especially our athletes, the youths on a whole, from that standpoint?
You know, that's a very great question. I wouldn't even say good question. It's a great question. You see, one of the things we find with our own Jamaicans, especially when it comes to athlete, is that they feel as if you cannot contribute enough to help the program to be better than what it is. Now, I've said it over and over that there is no other 400-meter runner, and I'm not talking about Herb McKinley because he was my mentor, Arthur Wint, who went to Excelsior at one point in his life, George Roden. I'm not talking about those great 400-meter runners. But I'm saying living today, there is no 400-meter runner from Jamaica who have accomplished more athletically. And with all due respect, I'm talking about Bert Cameron, because he too was one of my earlier mentors. And I have nothing but love and respect for him because he also helped to guide me along the path. He was there with me on some championship meets and he was able to encourage me. But our own fraternity don't believe that we have the knowledge and the experience that can help to guide them. So because of that, they don't value our input. No, I am here building heart and mentoring. I am here helping people to find their purpose in life. I am willing to work with the J3A, but my purpose is not to help the J3A. My purpose is to help people out there like you and others who want to become the best version of themselves, but don't know how. I am making it available to them that, yes, we need the purpose. We need the J3A to do their own thing. But if you want to take personal control where you don't have somebody over you telling you and instructing you what you need to do, you need to make sure that you have the right mentor who can help to guide you. You're owning your own success. And this is something that I will continue to encourage athletes to do. Own your success. Yes, you can share it with other people, but you must invest in yourself. You must, if you're to be successful.
Okay, and viewers, do you have any what's your opinion on what Dr. Horton is saying tonight? I see where Angela is saying that her dreams, well, Mr. Horton, a lot of my dreams and visions come true. I'm not sure if she's saying that while you were saying earlier that, a lot of us need to wake up. She's saying a lot of dreams do come through while you work at it. And for her, a lot of her visions and dreams do come through. I'm not sure what that means, but I mean, I myself get up every day and I tell myself that the things that I would like, I have my vision board. Like you said, you do have a vision board as well. And I'm teaching my sons how to also speak certain things into their life, have that vision board, that mindset where you can be. Don't let, even our black kids, as we know. Let's talk about that a little bit. The Black Lives Matter. Blacks are considered minority. My thing is that we're not minority. Don't, I'm not putting myself down there to say I'm a minority. That's what society says. What do you have to say about that?
Well, if you go back in time, you will see that African Americans, and when I say African Americans, if you're in Jamaica, you're African and you're in the Americas,
Okay.
So I am kind of making that clear. Sometimes we may say Caribbean Americans and so forth. But I am one of them who would say that you do need different entities. The Black Lives Matters may have their own agenda, but at the end of the day, you have to take personal responsibility for your life. The Black Lives Matters may create opportunities for a group of people. But if you don't have the requisite skills and knowledge and experience to exploit whatever opportunities that is available for you, it don't make any sense. And this is why Marcus Garvey talked about personal responsibility. Most of the leaders talk about personal responsibility. And as I'm saying to you all, it doesn't matter where you are. If you know that there's some deficiency in your development, you need to be honest with yourself. You need to find ways to improve. If you're not able to read, you need to start somewhere. If you're not able to make good, competent decisions, then it means that you need good advisors that can help you to make good, sound decisions that won't set you back 5-10 years from now. All wise people use advisors. The President of the United States has his advisor.
So true.
Fortune 500 companies, they have their advisors. So what it means for us, who we are faced with so many different obstacles and challenges, and we don't have advisors that can guide us. We want to take on this world on our own by ourselves. It's not a wise thing to do. I have multiple advisors that help to make sure that I stay on path. This is why I say that if you want to achieve your highest potential and become the best version of yourself, you must find competent people that can lead and guide you along the path to success.
That's right. You touched something very ticklish right there, somewhat, which is very important, though, Mr. Horton. The reading aspect. A lot of us, even in the Caribbean, we grew up, our grandparents, who were most times our parent per se, they were not able to read. So we were like the ones who had to do the reading for them. Reading is fundamental. So in today's world, I know that some athletes too, especially even though they have that talent, the physical side of it, they're not mentally well off per se. So what would you have to say? How can we help these people who are adults today, but they still have a illiteracy, the way they cannot probably read or write, so that could help them?
Just like I said, Empress, when I went to Central Arizona, I was deficient in a whole lot of things. I wasn't the greatest of reader. I wasn't the greatest of writing, in terms of putting together good sound essays and stuff like that. But I had a true intent. So for the person who find themselves in a situation where the fear is crippling them, it is preventing them from taking action, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to acknowledge first to yourself that you have an issue. If you have an issue, you'll find that people, when they realize they truly have an issue and they want to change, they now start to reach out to people who can help them. I am saying this here tonight, that it doesn't matter where you are in your life. If you can't read, if you can't write, if you can't spell, it's okay. I am willing to work with you if and only if you have a true intent. If I can't do it, I will make sure that you find the right people that can get you started where you are, so it don't have to be a struggle. But if you don't have a true intent, you're just going to sit there wishing and hoping and dreaming that someday you're going to become the best version of yourself without doing any of the work.
Because I know some people are used to the handout. They don't believe in working hard for it because were born in luxury kind of thing. So those people, I think they would be like, what is he talking about? I don't care. I'm inheriting.
Well, let me give you a real life story about that, Empress. I remember I was at Excelsior High School and some of the guys were misbehaving. And I want to say hi to Mr. Griffiths because he was one of the persons who started the process of change. I remember he called three of us, about four of us there. And he was making a point. He said, you guys, any of you parents rich? We thought about it. Well, first he asked us, where are you guys from? And I say, I'm from Seaview. And one man say, I'm from Backbush. And one say, I am from Hermitage. And him said, look, any of your parents rich? And we thought about it. Well, the answer was easy. We said, no.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any rich uncle or rich aunt who will pass on their inheritance to you anytime soon? And that again was an easy answer. We said, no. He said, look here, guys, let me tell you something. In life, some people are born with it, right? Some people will inherit it, and some people will have to work to achieve it. He said, which one of these categories you find yourself in? And we thought about it, and that was one of the eye-opener, the aha moment where you said, I said, I don't have any inheritance. I wasn't born with it. So I think I fall in the category where I now have to work hard for mine. So wherever you are right now, if you have it like that, great. If you will inherit it someday soon, excellent. But if you have to work hard for it, you need to be busy like that, and get working.
Okay. All right. So we'll take your advice, Mr. Horton, Dr. Horton. We'll take your advice. I know that we're talking about, the whole transition and the whole purpose, the whole mindset, getting it right in your mind, having that, starting with the thoughts, yes, and the dreams, but then putting it into action. Now, we're just on the topic of education, reading per se. Now, you have a PhD, which is the highest level in academics, correct?
Yes, that's what they say.
That's what they say, right? Because you're saying that, one should not limit themselves, and we are our own limit per se. Now, how easy was that for you? I know you're talking about, having the mindset and everything, but like I also said earlier, resources, people who are there for you. You're coming from Seaview Gardens all the way up to having attained a PhD.
Well, let me tell you this, that this is one of the first time in my life that I started something and was thinking about quitting. I've made it a duty to say that everything that I start, I must finish it. And I remember when I was going through the dissertation, we thought we did an excellent job, and when we submitted it, it passed the first review, and the second review they kick it back, and we had to redo. It was 5 chapters, and we had to redo the last 2 chapters. Very tough thing. Very tough thing, because now it means that it would require another 2 years of my time in order to put the data together again.
Right.
So sometimes in life, what this has taught me though is character, because during the process of figuring this thing out, I met a part of me that was hidden somewhere that I didn't know exists. And it's the same thing with you when you're going through the hard work, the journey, the frustration, the obstacle. You may find that you now meet a person that lives within that you didn't know exists. So in my situation, my mentor once said, he said, Greg, if you have a solution, it means that you don't have a problem. So you need to find the solution. And I remember when it took me a week to just get this monkey off my back, and I started to think again because I know how to approach this with a brand new way of thinking. Many a times we get ourselves in situations because of the level of thinking. Now,
Right.
Einstein said that you cannot solve your problems with the same mindset that create the problem. You need a higher level of thinking, which means that I had to think higher than before in order to solve the situation that I found myself in. And I was able to make a few phone calls and reach out to a few people and reach out to my dissertation chair and got busy working. And fortunately for me, with my mentor in this process, when they started to break down the pros and the cons and the how and how it should be done, it was so easy. I started to laugh. This is why I'm saying, Empress, that when you have people who have been there and done that, you don't have to learn through trial and error. People who have that lived experience, they can guide you along the way. My mentor said it's like a car. You know, when you're driving in the dark, your headlight can only go 10 meters. But each 10 meters that you reach, you can go another 10 meter and another 10 meter. So the destination is not one long 2,000 miles where you see everything. But when you have somebody holding your hand, when you have somebody showing you the pitfalls and the obstacles and so on, you know how to go around them with ease. And many of the reasons why we are struggling in our lives because we see the pitfalls, sometimes we don't see it and we go right in it. So what I'm saying to you is that if I didn't have competent people around me at that time, maybe I would have quit. Maybe I would have given up. And I wouldn't be Dr. Gregory Horton. So it's the same thing for people who are here watching us tonight. You might want to quit right now because you just feel like there is no hope and there is no solution to your problem. But every problem has a solution. The key is to find that solution.
Okay. Thank you so much again for that advice, those words of upliftment, Mr. Horton. Now, society sometimes plays a grave role on individuals wherein they, even in our schools here in the United States, and I've seen it, that's why I'm speaking it, where children, especially the Black community, are often misdiagnosed. For example, a child is in class. You know, we're talking about everything here as it relates to dreams, visions, missions, purpose, and all of that, right? And these children are misdiagnosed, saying they have, you know, ADHD, whatever, they're slow or they're just too hyper and all of these. Do you think that these children are misdiagnosed, your opinion? Or is it that these children are they just want something more challenging that can occupy their mindset?
Well, I would first say that Dr. Umar Johnson is the specialist when it comes to ADHD. He spent a lot of time talking to parents and talking to the education boards that it's a strategy that they're using to keep our young boys, especially, in the dark. And because as parents, we are not properly educated on the issue, we follow what they are saying. Now, I am one of them who believe that, again, parents must take an active role in their kids' life. Parents today, they have the necessary prerequisite, meaning that they are proficient in reading, understanding, and so on. But we just have some straight lazy parents. That's just the absolute truth. Parents are lazy and they expect teachers to educate their kids. Now, the education starts from home. So you have schooling and you have education. When you send your kid to school, they will program them with whatever they think is best to keep them down. You as a parent must make sure that when your kids come home, you can spend some time with them. Talk to them about what they learn. Make sure that they're doing their regular reading. Make sure that they understand their homework. Some of these kids are just lazy because they have lazy parents. The parents never took the time to help the child with the homework. And they never spend the money to get their child tutoring if they find that the child lacks in certain areas. They expect that the kid is going to be a genius without them putting in any work or investing in anything that can help that child to develop. So I'm talking to the parents out there now who truly want the best for their kids, that you must take a personal responsibility as well to make sure that whatever you think your kid needs,
Right.
that you provide it for them.
You know, this reminds me of a conversation I was having with a girlfriend of mine probably a year ago or so. And she was telling me about her son, and the school system, you know, is not so rigid like back home in some of the states or counties that we live in right here in the United States. And she's like, she had to get a tutor for him outside of school because she knew his potential as a mother, as a parent, that, you know, what he was, the level that he was performing in school wasn't at his optimum, you know, level. So you are right. You know, a lot of us, we need to pay attention as parents and do our best. You know, some of us, we're going to bawl and say, oh, we don't have the money, and all of these will find the excuse. But you also said in this conversation previously that we need to stop focusing on the problem and to find some solution. You know, look at different ways that we can get some help. If we don't have the money, then try to reach out to someone who can help you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of free monies in the community, scholarships. You have like the Lions Club, you have Rotary Club, you have these people who are willing. And if you get no for the first time, don't take no and just go and sit and, you know, grapple, have a pity party. Continue, even if it means going back to that same one person or organization 10 times, and until you get on their nerves, until they say yes, right?
Well, you know, Empress, it's not always about the money too, you know. Like, say, for example, you know, as parents, we have Zoom. And if you have a good friend that is good in math way across Europe, you can get a tutor or a mentor right in your home. So it's not always about the money. You can find a friend that knows a friend that is willing to share
Exactly.
their knowledge to make your child a better child. Because remember, it takes a village. And if we as a people is to overcome some of these things, we have to pool our resources, and which means also time, and provide things that can make your neighbor child better in whatever he or she chooses.
That is so true. Those are, you know, points that I even myself probably forgot just now. But, you know, we also have to get out of this selfish mindset as a people and just be, like you said, when we were growing up, it was a community that raised us. It was a community that raised us, and we just have to look out for each other too. You know, see if someone needs help, they're struggling. Because sometimes too, we can be proactive, where if we have a friend and we notice that they're struggling, don't even wait on them to come to us. Offer the help, and then if they turn it down, then hey, the ball is in their court. They must know what they really want out of life for themselves. Now, Mr. Hutton, do you have any siblings like who are of the same mindset like you, and are you also mentoring them or being an example for them?
Well, I have 3 sisters, so I am the only boy. Um, we have totally different perspective on life. Um, the love is real. You know, I was always the go-getter. I was the serious one. I was the one who was more willing to invest in reading and all these type of things. So, you know, you'll find this, it says 7 brothers, 7 different minds. They had to do what they thought was best for them, and I had to do what was in my best interest. But the one thing I can tell you about my family, that we are always close. We know when to speak and when to be quiet, but we have a certain level of love and understanding among one another, and we respect each other's decision, even if it's contrary to our own.
Awesome. I will agree with that 1,000 times. We have a viewer here, Mr. David Morgan. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I just want to also welcome our other strong supporters. We have Sean Deeds and we have Miss Burgess. Angie, as you know, she's a part of our Ladies Uplifting and Inspiring here. Mrs. Dione Winterfunde, she was on our program last week. Thank you for checking in. And as you see, David is saying here that we made a great choice in having you. So obviously, you are divulging information that is, you know, impertinent to our life per se, where we can adapt to it and try it out and see how it works, Mr. Houghton.
Mm.
All right. So, any last words here for our viewers tonight, parents, coach, athletes, and even as it relates to those upcoming athletes from our own country, Jamaica?
Yes. My final thought is this: that success is a series of steps that you must take. Some people are familiar with these steps, and some people it's foreign. They don't know how to put a plan in place and how to execute the plan and how to assess the plan from time to time to make sure that they're on the right path. On January 23rd, I'll be doing the Mind of a Champion free webinar. Now you hear people talk about webinars and they try to attract people to come in to do something else. That's not me. The Horton Mentoring Group, Dr. Horton and the Horton Mentoring Group, we are going to put together on the 23rd of January a free webinar that will point out details that can help people to become the best version of themselves. As I said, one of my purposes is to help people to find their purpose. And one of my purpose is to make, I already made a commitment that my goal is to help people to become the best version of themselves as long as they are aspired to change their lives. And one of the reasons I'm doing this, because I know that if you can change your life, you can change your family life, and this is how this world can become a better place. So on the 23rd, we will be doing the Mind of a Champion webinar free, of course. All you need to do is to register, and we will break it down to you as to what it will take and how you can achieve whatever success that you set out to achieve in your life.
Okay, there you have it. It's going to be 2021, guys. If it's your first free gift, take control of it, take charge, utilize the opportunity to be on this free webinar with Dr. Gregory Houghton on January 23, 2021. And Mr. Dr. Houghton, can you tell us where else they can find you again, just to repeat for those who are joining us?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me at www.drhoughton.com, or you can find me at www.hortonmentoringgroup.com. We have some videos and some interactive stuff that can help to make a difference. We will be putting out our videos on a regular basis now because, again, 2021, we want to change lives. We want people now to become the best version of themselves. There is no reason to settle for less. Because when you settle for less, less can be extremely disappointing.
There you go. And don't forget, tomorrow, you have a program tomorrow, right, Dr. Houghton?
Yes. Yes. We will premiere the short story of Dr. Gregory Houghton. Beautiful story. I think you will enjoy it. So 11:30 tomorrow, 11:20 tomorrow, we will premiere the short story of my journey and how I got here and how it might inspire you to become the best version of yourself as well.
Okay, as you hear the doctor, the dad, the mentor, the transformational life coach, he keeps pressing about changing, to become the best version of yourself, the true champion that's within you. And there is a website right here on screen, www.international, which is INTL stars, STARZ.com/conference. You can go there to get more information about the program that he will be a part of tomorrow, December 12th, 2020. All right, so Mr. Houghton, it was truly a honor. I am delighted that, I'm sitting right here, even though we're virtual, but thank God we have technology with this pandemic that's going on, that I'm privileged to be sitting on the same platform with you, an icon, a stalwart, fellow Jamaican, and I enjoyed this conversation this evening. So thank you for your time, and thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, and may God continue to bless and keep you and your family safe.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. So before we go, we just want to remind you about our giveaway on January 2. So many free things going on for the start of 2021. We will be giving away up to 10 tablets, which is being sponsored by a very stalwart, another Jamaican who we're just trying to keep it like as a surprise for now. He will be on that day, January 2, to do the giveaway. And we have been posting it. So if you know anyone who needs or who is really in dire need of a tablet to continue their education, as you see, the pandemic, children are doing virtual classes, and some of them really and truly they need it. So don't feel ashamed or be afraid. Okay, be fearless and nominate those who you think would, benefit from this cause. And next week, you will be having on here with us attorney Sekou Clark, another Jamaican athlete. He will be telling us a lot of information as well. And we will also have Anthony Davis and another life coach, Nicola Lopez. So we have a lot in store. And don't forget our reunion on December 25. It's going to be an informal session per se, where we go back down country road, kind of, talk about the things that we've been through growing up as children until we became adults. So we just wanted to continue to stay tuned to Ladies Uplifting and Inspiring. We may have a giveaway on Christmas Day too, so you never know. So stay tuned. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend, and always come back. Always feel free. Your concern concerns us. Together we conquer. So that's it for this evening, guys. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And feel free to go on the website www.internationalstars.com/conference. Thank you again, Dr. Horton.
You're welcome.
Okay. See you guys at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Have a good night.